here it go. This is what y'all wanted, huh? This is y'all want Trav to open up and talk
What
about.
is it that she wants? Tell me what is it that she needs? Did she hear about the brand new biz that you just bought for me?
See what I'm saying? See how charged she is. You see my face, right?
I mean, I feel like there was 90s vibes all day long.
Okay.
Growing this to help you.
You're right. You're right.
All right, so let's get this thing started. So to help us with today's topic, we actually looked at 2 different articles. One from Cosmopolitan, for all the beautiful ladies out there who picked up a Cosmo magazine, and one from the Huffington Post. The one from the Huffington Post actually gave us some insight on how to cope when you find out that your ex has a new partner. So that's just the general category of things. But Cosmo got right down deep and dirty when their article was titled "Dealing with the emotions of when your ex has moved on."
When they didn't forget about you.
Not forget about you, but they didn't move on.
What is moving on? Okay. All right.
And they've become this perfect partner in their new relationship.
Hey man, you know what?
So we'll ask this to definitely get us started. Put the hand emoji in the comment section.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, Lord Jesus.
You've ever been in a situation or ever dealt with, ever had an ex where you spent months or even years in a relationship with them. You learned something important. You've helped them chase their dream, or either they've helped you chase your dream. And then you notice that, this thing ain't even gonna work or whatever. It looked like I need to hit the door, exit stage left. You exit the relationship, and all of a sudden, the things you were complaining about in a relationship, they've now applied in their new relationship. So it's a 2-parter. The first part, you can definitely add a hand emoji or the raised hand emoji. If you've been in a previous relationship or just got out of a relationship and you spent years, time, months, whatever, in that situation, and you realize that all the time and effort you didn't spend, it's time for you to chuck the deuces and move on to the next thing. Or if you were in a previous relationship and you now are with that ex and you now realize that they've evolved into this awesome man, or they've evolved into this awesome woman. Raise your hand.
I just got some tips. I just got tips. I don't know what she's going with this whole thing. Like, oh Lord.
Okay, so let's get into it. So from the article you read, since you
I just got a little
read
tips,
the Huffington
man.
Post, what's a tip that you got?
I mean, the first one I wrote down, it said how to cope when you find out your ex has a new partner. That's one of the ones I was. And it was like, the first one it said was like, finding out your ex has moved on with someone else can be devastating. Which you know, my view different, but this is what the article says. Man, y'all, this is not
your
trap.
experience different.
This is not been trap. This is the article. Not me. Anyway, the next one I had, and the article says, when you have given someone your heart, as well as the most intimate part of yourself, it's excruciating if you're replaced or disregarded. So that one was kind of like,
Yeah.
You know, kind of was an eye opener on that one a little bit. Made me go,
I also feel like one of the reasons, I mean, we talk about this all the time. So females were super emotional, but I'm not going to discredit the males that may be out there that have clearly moved on from a relationship for whatever reason and might be broken up about it. I definitely feel like we have to be real. We need to definitely acknowledge how we feel, even if that person has moved on to a whole nother thing. Now, I'm not saying acknowledge how you feel to your ex. That's not what I'm saying at all.
I didn't say nothing. I'm listening.
To yourself, whether you journal or ladies, if you got a diary that you write in, it's okay to say, look, I feel a certain type of way because I didn't get out this relationship and he or she was X, Y, and Z, and then all of a sudden it appears as though I'm replaced, or I wasn't taken seriously, or whatever the case may be. Hurt is hurt. And no matter how short of a time you were with somebody, or how long of a time you were with somebody, the reality is you might have been hurt. It's okay to acknowledge, hey, look, I'm hurt. Because if we don't acknowledge how we feel, it's hard to be able to know, okay, where do I need to go with this? Where can I go next? That's like when people are alcoholics and they go to AA. The first thing they do when they sit down is say, hi, my name is such and such. I'm an alcoholic, or I have a problem with alcohol. You got to acknowledge what the real feeling is first before you can even, move on.
Yeah, if you hurt, you're right. If you're hurt, you're hurt. Don't... Y'all know if people out there be like, I'm good, I'm cool. Knowing you want to get that baseball bat, go from old crib, and bust his head to the white meat. But just say that. If that's how you feel.
But it's funny that you say that, because I feel like with women, that's where you get the whole angry.
I know I bust your windows out your car, slashing tires.
Because
you're not in the car.
You're not owning up to the fact that I feel hurt. You're trying to subside all of these feelings and act like you okay.
Time is precious.
And that stuff boils.
Yes, it boils over like a crock pot. If you leave it on too long, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna bubble over.
And for some people, like, I could date somebody for 6 months, and I may have the same exact feeling of hurt that someone has when they've been with somebody for 15 years and it goes left. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's different. So acknowledge the fact that you hurt. You don't feel good about this situation. You know what I mean?
JK say, hi, I'm JK, and I like to put in work in my relationships.
I mean,
I like that, bro.
It's a great start.
So you can get it out or put it on the table. Like, I ain't got time to play with you. You feel me, bro? I feel that.
So we talked about this at the end of last week's episode, but I definitely feel like whenever it's a situation of you getting out of a relationship with somebody, before you do anything else, take some time to yourself to sift through all of your emotions.
Yes, so you can cry, you can laugh 1 minute, be
holler,
angry the next, get all that out. Get all that out. On the real, Joe, because when you don't, man, for real, it causes problems. Right. We too grown for this, y'all.
And know this journey is going to take a different time frame for everybody. So it's okay.
It's okay if it take you longer than the previous person. Everybody's different. Right. That's all right. But take as much time as you need to get yourself together. I'm tired of repeating myself. Take as much time as you need.
Dead.
You hear me?
So what's another point you pulled from the Huffington Post article?
I got one that I really highlighted, I wrote down that I really like, that I want to share with y'all real quick. It said, one reason people have such a hard time dealing with rejection ties back to our hand-wired evolutionary need to bond and stay bonded to others in order to survive. So that means you just holding on just to be with them. Cut that out too.
And this actually, even though we weren't talking about this, but
let me just speak on what I just said.
Go ahead.
That means just hanging on to somebody just to hang on
for
to.
Companionship.
Just for companionship. Look here. Time too precious to waste. Don't do that.
Right.
Because they just there just to be there. No, your time is precious. Be with somebody that values your time. Right. Don't just be with somebody just because it's just convenient. Look here.
We actually, it's funny that you say that because we just recently started this Bible plan that's by Michael Todd. If you don't know him, look him up. He's a youth pastor at Transformation Church, and he focuses on, one of the main things that like people know him by is his topic on relationship goals. And he talks about, singlehood is just as important as engagement, which is just as important as marriage. And he went back to the beginning of creation in the book of Genesis, and he expressed the fact that relationships, companionship was created by God. in the beginning of time, because he references two different things. One where it says God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit work together in order to create basically everything.
Not the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, not the Big Bang Theory. Y'all know we don't believe in it, know it. But anyways.
That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I'm sorry.
And then he also expressed the fact that after the animals were created, of course, the first marriage, friendship, relationship was Adam and Eve. So
yeah.
But it's not, you don't have to feel like I've gotta have this person if they dogging me or whatever the case may be.
Respect yourself. Yeah,
just
man,
because I need a companion. I need to feel wanted.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, it's not cool.
You're hurting yourself as well as people that care about you, because we gonna want to beat the person up because we see it, what they doing. So you putting us in, you got bail money? If you got it, then go ahead, knock yourself out. But if you don't, stop.
Let's address some of the comments that's mentioned before we go on to our next point.
Yes. Can I go to the one?
Yep.
It said, if you don't take the time to heal, you're going to the next relationship bleeding on the person you're trying to build with.
Say that one more time.
Can I say it one more time? Please.
Shout out Britt for that one.
She say, if you don't take the time to heal, hear me
Heal.
good. Heal. You're going to the next relationship bleeding on that person you're trying to build with.
That's the truth. That's just
if
like,
that ain't the truth, I don't know what is.
It's the same with baggage. Thank y'all for the hearts and for the love.
We appreciate it, man.
It's the same with baggage. You know, you definitely don't want to overcomplicate your next situation by coming into a new situation with all these bags and all this garbage that you haven't healed from. We actually, so y'all know we love plugging our loved ones. We actually talked about this on Kelly and Angel's podcast on Saturday night, and the importance of making sure that you are as whole can be before you even gone in from one situation to the next situation.
Make sure you right, because you're doing damage. When you do that, that's like walking in the building with grenades in your pockets and you left the pins in the car. Right. You blowing up everything. You go in the bathroom, blow it up, boom, you leave there. You go to the next one, you blow.
And then that's not fair to the new person who's coming to your life. So although we're talking about exes, you know, okay, if
you're hurting
so-called this perfect person in a new relationship, definitely take the time that you need for yourself to make sure that you are a whole being instead of, you know, the pieces or the fragments that you left out of, you know what I'm saying, from your previous
it's like
relationship.
Your damaged goods almost.
It's like I gotta re-up. You know what I'm saying? Like on the games that you play, the shooting games, Call of Duty, you gotta re-up.
I gotta get ammo. I can't just be out there busting. I need ammo for my AK. I run out. So that's the same. It's equivalent
it's the same when you get out
on my Call of Duty, man.
From one relationship to the next. So if you felt like you've given all of this stuff in this relationship and it didn't work out and that's caused you to leave, guess what, boo-boo? You need to re-up. You need to figure out, like, help make yourself, with the help of God, of course, make yourself back whole again, so that you're going into the next situation or the next relationship your best self.
Your best self. So you already know what you want when you go in there.
Right.
You already know the signs of the bull because you've been through it. That's what he does. Now, if you keep you can keep repeating it because that's a fool there. Now, if you keep doing the same thing, in my opinion, that's my opinion, though.
It's interesting that you say that because I feel as though if you don't learn something in one relationship, it's bound to repeat itself over and over and over again.
Yes.
So the people may change, that man or that woman may change. But if you if you hitting your head on this same problem every single time in a different relationship, it may be time for you to self-evaluate and figure out, okay, let me see what I'm doing wrong or what I need to do different because clearly
I don't have myself together. Exactly. And Most High gonna make, he gonna keep like, okay, he got all the time in the world. So he just watching like, True. Okay, I done showed you.
Hey y'all, for those of you who just hopped on.
So you pick your poison. You do. I don't like when it hurt. So
absolutely,
be wise.
This topic stemmed from anybody who watches Insecure. Not the episode that came on last night, but the previous episode, where Issa, was kind of in her feels because Lawrence, the so-called, moved on, and she felt like the 5 years of time that she spent in that relationship was kind of like a waste because his new girl is reaping the benefits, quote unquote. But in the article that I read, they talked about while you're spending some quality time with yourself, compile a list of things that you learned from that
Say it again.
relationship.
Say it one more time.
So compile a list of things that you learned. Because I feel like, the day and age we live in with all this technology, back in the day, if you broke up with somebody, the likelihood of you seeing them again was like slim to none unless y'all share the same group of friends.
Yeah, now it's different. You break up with somebody, you see them on Insta and
right,
Snap
especially if you still following them. We gonna talk about that later. But you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in the fact that, okay, looks can appear one way on social media through pictures, through
a picture only can tell you
quotes.
So many things.
It tells you a second of an instant of what's going on.
Most definitely.
But making that list of lessons you learned from that previous relationship is going to be important and huge, so that when you move on to the next relationship, if you're seeing those same signs early on, you can be like, look, either let's address these issues or let me go ahead and bounce, because you're clearly, this new boo is mimicking the same issues from the previous boo. So make that list, compile a list of things you learned, and remind yourself why you left in the first place. Because if you sitting there looking like, I left him because, he was too flirtatious for my liking with females or males or whatever, and now you see he's booed up or she's booed up with new bae, and you feel like they're not having them same issues that you had, you may have to remind yourself, look, Angie, this is why you left in the first place. Don't get so wrapped up in what you see, because new bae may not even be experiencing that issue yet. Y'all know how it is when it's honeymoon stages. Everything looks squeaky clean on the outside in the beginning. It's not until that honeymoon stage is wrapped up that sometimes you see the layers of people after the fact. So remind yourself, look, this is why I exited stage left. If you left because she was crazy, guess what? She probably still crazy.
Yeah, ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing that gets crazy.
What's the possibility? They may not change.
All right. Okay, quote, unquote, possibility. Okay.
I'm saying, because if they took the necessary time to get themselves together, they may be different.
I'm talking about when it don't be like that, when they think it's like that and they just being the same with the new person. Right. That's what I was touching on. That's all.
Right. Right, bro. Grass ain't always greener on the other side.
It's not.
Grass may be rotten at the roots.
It's not,
and it just ain't fell over and withered yet.
I'm going to say something my grandmama told me a long time ago. And this is going to touch somebody's soul. I feel it this evening. She told me, I was young one time. She was like, baby, you go through life, you're going to meet people, you're going to go through relationships. She told me, she said, salt and sugar look the same.
Ooh, I like that. Because from the outside, salt and sugar do look alike. It's
when you
not
put salt and sugar by
it and taste it.
What you do, it look the same, don't it? But when you taste it, one sweet, one not.
Right.
So that's equivalent to the grass. And I said, what grandma mean? Until I got grown, I said, Granny, I looked up in heaven like, Grandma, you know what?
I feel like that should definitely be the hashtag for the night. So can y'all drop hashtag salt and sugar look the same.
Salt and sugar look the same.
Salt and sugar look the same in the
and
comments.
don't steal my granny. She told me that, man. That's a true story. And I didn't understand what she meant at the time until I went through some things. I say, that's what grandma
did. Let's go back up through the comments.
He say that's why it's good to have people you trust as well to speak into your life. A lot of the time, we walk in flesh.
That's so true.
I like that.
That
Real
is so
talk,
true.
Cause that's facts. I like this. People have seasons in our life. Many are a season, but few are a reason.
Let's stop right there and let's actually talk about it, because that wasn't in my notes, but it is so
Can
important.
I say that one more time?
Yes, please.
People have seasons in our life. Many are a season, but few are a reason.
I definitely feel like, and we actually talked about this week. So, or earlier this week, I should say. It's so important that we have a relationship with Christ, with God, and that that relationship is active, because at the end of the day, God is the only one who truly knows the full purpose that another person has come into our life. So if that person is only meant to be temporary, only meant to teach us a lesson, only meant to be seasonal, and we've confused that relationship thinking that it's gonna be a lifetime, we can't always say, oh God, why you allow me to go through that situation, if we were the ones who confused the longevity or the time frame of that relationship. You know what I'm saying? So some people are only meant to come into our lives and teach us a lesson. And once that lesson has been learned, then it may be time for them to move on. Making sure that we're in tune with the Most High God and understanding that, everybody who crosses our path has a purpose.
Everyone.
And if we confuse the purpose as humans, thinking that it's supposed to be longer than what it actually is.
They probably just meant to come in your life for that year, 2 years. You held on
months,
15
maybe.
Months, a week.
Or maybe we're supposed to be the one to, show them who God is. And so if we've confused it and thinking, oh, okay, this bae, this boo, because he or she is fine as ever, you know what I'm saying? Then we're the ones who messed up that thing.
Right.
What's something else that you found interesting with this whole topic?
Well, let me see.
Or something.
Oh, yes. This one I like. It says, stop looking for your ex and their new boo on social media. And it says also, I'm not finished on that. Hold your thought. It says it derails the process you've made in moving forward, which I 1,000% agree with. If you didn't got over the person, but you just on Facebook.
Or we can't even say if you've gotten over them.
If you're in the process, if you're still in the process of getting over them, and you go on Instagram or Facebook and they at Yorktown Mall, and all that anger come back. Now you back in there playing Jasmine Sullivan again. Now you gonna have your girls or you got a wine day because you done went on Facebook and seen. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I personally,
you're doing most harm to yourself. Because they chilling, but now you right back in the space that you are trying to get out of.
I personally feel like we definitely have to treat relationships like Alcoholic Anonymous class, because when granted I don't know, but from from everything that I've read.
Exactly, that's why you delete them.
Everything that I've read, we get into that in a second. Everything that I've read, people who suffer from a substance abuse, when they're trying to get better, they have a period of time where they're not around that substance. They're not exposed to that substance. They don't befriend or shouldn't befriend or be around the people who are still partaking in that substance. So why in the world do we think that it's okay to get out of a relationship with a person and still follow them or be all in a, you know what I'm saying, DMs, or some people be, you know, we got stalkers in the world. So some people even do the whole stalking thing. Like, take some time by yourself getting over the person you were previously with. Now, I definitely agree with you, Miss Frosty 86, that in my opinion, everybody I've dated in the past or had a relationship with prior to my husband, I'm not friends with them on any social media platform. But I also know that I did that because of me. I needed to help heal. There's a lot of people in the world that, like, they may have been. None
of mine. I ain't gonna say they know, bogus language. God bless all of them, but they ain't on none of mine. I don't want them to see nothing out of them.
But there may be people.
They exes for a reason.
There may be some of our viewers who might have had a great friendship with somebody before they even got in a relationship with them, and might have ended on a great note. You know what I'm saying? Where you still can be an associate with that person or talk to them periodically or whatever the case may be. But understand, everybody is not like that.
Right.
You know what you can and can't tolerate, or what you can and can't deal with. So if seeing this person up and down your timeline and what they're doing and what progresses they've made, if you know good and well this is going to make you angry and upset, just go ahead and unfollow them.
We got a comment here. I'm going to read it.
Go ahead.
It says, in some cases, I think people want to go back to their ex because they like the familiarity of the relationship and don't want to start a new one with another person.
Say that again. I like it. I like it. I like it.
In some cases, I think people want to go back to their ex because they like the familiarity of the relationship and don't want to start new with another person.
I mean, I definitely can understand where that comment comes from, because relationships are hard work. I mean, hard work.
You have to put them emphasis on there like that.
But that's not directed towards you. It's hard work. It's hard work. Man, so nothing is gonna come easy. First of all, you talking about starting a new relationship. So that means you've got to get to know this new person, which may take time. It may take years.
Know their family.
Everything.
Y'all know how you got to put the work in to know the family, get to know them. So you can blend it. That's to do that over.
To do it over. So to a certain extent, I agree with somebody else said this, I think. But I definitely feel like you need to know that before you step foot into another relationship, and how much time you are wanting to give yourself to get to know a new person. But to revert backwards, in my opinion, is dumb. Because although, yes, you know what you might have been dealing with, is it worth it though? Like, I think of the extreme. If the person was abusive and that's the reason why you left in the first place, does it make sense to go back to an abusive relationship just because you don't want to experience?
Well, that's where self-love come in there though. That's self-love. That's another topic for another day. But that's what I say all the time. Love yourself before somebody can love you.
Yes.
That's where self-love comes in. That's why that person goes back and keep getting hit in the mouth and go back and keep getting hit in the head and go back. Now they in the ambulance and they go back. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know a couple. I'm not being funny. I'm being real. And
then bro just said, our spirit is willing, but our flesh is weak. And that is most absolutely true. That's the reason that we personally feel like it's so important to have a relationship with God, because God is the only one who can work on our flesh. Like, we can't do it.
Yeah, we can't do it. It's
we're
impossible.
We're created in iniquity. You know what I'm saying? Yes, starting over is hard because you got to trust the person and their family. And building trust is not easy.
It's not easy at all, people.
Especially if you came from a previous situation, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with trust.
So when you build that up, that's like brick by brick, and it's looking all pretty, and somebody come and just knock it all down, and you like, you know what? It's just going to be there.
Yep.
The rubble just going to stay there.
Yep.
Because I don't want to trust nobody no more. That's how it goes.
The Cosmo article it says, although sometimes your previous experiences may be painful, they should teach you something about yourself.
Oh, you stole what I was just going to say next. That's cool. That's what I had next to say.
It should definitely teach you something about yourself. So, for example, if you know you was dealing with financial issues in your previous relationship and that's what caused you to exit stage left, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, write that down, highlight that, remind yourself over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because what you want is to kind of build this resume, so to speak, of things that you're willing to accept going into the next relationship.
And things you are not.
And things that you definitely don't want.
And you have the right to do that.
Yes.
You don't have to tolerate nothing just because. I hate people. You know when you hear people like, oh, that's just how he or she is. We need to stop that.
And if that's, we talked about this a little bit last week, but if
and hold people accountable and be logical, man.
If tolerating something was one of the things that you did in your previous relationship, really work hard on, figuring out ways that you can actively eliminate that tolerance. So if that means you make a conscious effort in saying, okay, in my next relationship, I'm going to do better at communicating how I feel in good and bad times. And this is how you practice before you even get in a relationship. Start with your friends. Start with your family members. Because I feel like if communication was an issue in your relationship with your ex, it was probably an issue in all of your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Start with him.
So practice with the relationships and friendships you currently have, so that way you can master that. And when you get into that next relationship, you already know, I'm not dealing with that.
You did.
Because I didn't deal with it with my mama or my cousins or my friends. You know what I mean?
On the real, my frat brothers, my sorority sister, dog returns to his vomit, so a fool repeat his folly.
Come on, say it one more time.
As a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool repeat his folly.
And bro mentioned that came from Proverbs. That is so true.
That's a great point, though. My boy John says, starting over is like a tower built up and taken down, then have to build it back up. You don't want to do it. That's work.
It is definitely hard work, but I feel like you have to look at, if you focus on how much work it's going to take, you may miss how beautiful that structure is going to be after the fact. That's like that's with anything in life. If I want to be a superb vocalist, there's a lot of training that goes into it. But if I focus on the training, the baby steps, the beginning steps, I'm never going to get to the end result ever, because I'm focused on what, grueling work I've got to do now, as opposed to if you think about and be optimistic about what can come as a result of two people working hard at this relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's because love is a beautiful thing. Relationships are a beautiful thing.
They are.
But I feel like
a lot of hard work that goes into them.
If we never take the time in between those relationships to really work on ourselves, we may not ever get to the beauty.
True.
So another one?
John also says community is vital because they can see what you don't see in your ex, and they will be truthful about that. Yep. If you got real people around you, real people will let you know. When I got with her, when I came around her in 2008, that was a beautiful time. Obama was coming in. I had hair. Man, 2008. But anyway, when I was coming around her, all her GMP, like her church family, her close friend, like it's too many. It was now knowing them, how real they are. Like if it was something wrong with me, they would have told her. I highly believe that in my heart. Like they would have pulled us to the side. Like no, he not it. Because that's what she was surrounded by. So like John said, that's true. Like I might see something that he's not seeing.
True.
And because I love him, I'm going to tell him. I'm not going to let him go over there and do it, and then he come back like, did you know? And I'm like, yeah.
Right.
And he gonna look at me like, well, why didn't you say nothing?
True, but I definitely feel like we talk about this quite frequently as well. I definitely feel like there's nothing wrong with community. Community is definitely helpful and key.
What you was gonna say,
but you have to know sometimes when to sift, because if somebody in your community,
you can't listen to everyone.
Well, if somebody in your community has had bad relationship problems, or have dealt with issues in the past, and that's caused them to be, y'all know the word, bitter Beckys or bitter Bobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they going off how bitter they are, so they telling you bitter.
They're telling you.
Yeah, weed them out. I'm talking about, let me specify that then. I was trying to be nice, but let me be real. Okay, let me get down to the neck bone of it, to the nitty gritty of the thing. Then listen to the real ones. It don't listen if they miserable or they had, like she said, they been bitter. Cut them out. I'm not talking about listening to the bitter ones. I'm talking about the good ones.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the ones that's bitter. Boop, them.
Yeah, sis, you definitely
surround yourself with the sharp ones that's gonna look out for you and genuinely love you.
But sis said it took literally the words out of my mouth. In order for you to know that, you have to seek spiritual counsel, or have to seek counsel, period. And you have to allow the Holy Spirit to give you discernment, because in our human flesh, we aren't gonna be able to know which are the real ones versus those that are fake. Somebody can be real because they straight no chaser, but that doesn't mean that they're coming from a real place to a real place.
Yeah, I know, but real is like standing with you. Like when I say something, I mean it, and I stand I'm real. So if I
understood, but if you're real and you're not walking with the Holy Spirit, you could be sending me off my path.
Oh, I mean,
and if I'm not walking in the Holy Spirit to discern,
I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying.
What? Because again, only God knows. You know what I mean? Like, how my path only supposed to be straight? Am I supposed to go left, right? Then go diagonal for a little bit just to come back. So just because someone is real, keeping it 100, straight no chaser, may not necessarily mean that they're telling you what you're supposed to do according to his plan.
But see, you went deep with it. I'm going off like when I was growing up on the block. And all my big homies that was gangbangers, I hung with them, but when they went to gang activity, they was like, hey, bro, you go home. They wasn't sending me off. They was telling me real.
Understood.
That's not sending me off.
Understood, but a relationship is different.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother territory.
I understand that. I'm just going off.
And I personally feel like, from personal experience, somebody can ruin their life by being with the wrong person at the wrong time.
But that proves. That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. When that goes.
I hear you, but I'm saying that person, that individual, still has to have a direct connection with God and the Holy Spirit, so they know. Is the person that's telling me this? Is this what God wants me to do right now? Because that's like, if you give me directions on how to get to the south side, you're giving me directions based on how you normally take, get to the south side. But if you ain't went to the south side in the past year and a half, and you have no clue if there's construction going on, if I can even merge in that lane, or if I need to.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right. You got it.
I mean, it's
you got it.
It's the truth. God is the only one who knows what in the world we supposed to do when we supposed to.
But I'm just saying, it's still different. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I still stand on what I just said.
Yeah, I'm
saying like, I hear what you're saying wholeheartedly. I'm talking about like growing up in the city, like, or like if I talk to any young brothers I can kick it with now, like when I'm talking to them, it's off my experiences. Like I'm not sending them off, as you say. Like if they ask me something, I know what I'm talking about because I've been there, done that.
Understood.
So I can tell them so they won't have to go through the same thing.
Understood.
That's not me sending them off because it ain't got nothing to do with...
I wasn't saying sending them off. I'm saying when it comes to the people who, like you or someone else, that may be telling them, giving them advice, it's still important for the person who's listening to the advice to take the advice, take it to God, and be like, okay, God, how am I to sift this? Am I supposed to store some of this information in the back of my head for a rainy day? Am I supposed to use some of this information right now and apply it right now?
I mean, on the city, you have to. You have to as soon as you get it.
But I'm talking about with relationships.
Relationships, you have to take it to... I know I went off, but it's still doing the same thing. I know when it comes to that, yes, you have to seek counsel.
Yes, because God is our self.
I agree with that.
He tells us when to apply it, store it. You may need it later on in another relationship. I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm speaking on the other side when you flip that coin. But we talking about relationships.
But I was going off the comment.
I got you. But he still was saying, listen to your community because they may see something.
That's what I went off with. That's what I'm saying. Understood. The community don't send you off.
So I don't know, y'all. Y'all tell me. I done had some instances where my community done sent me clean off. And had I listened to them, oh Lord Jesus.
Right, bro. We're saying the same. That's what I'm saying, JK. It's just my coin and her side of the coin. That's all I'm saying.
It's not.
That's
y'all,
all
it's not a real debate for real. We're not saying like one is right, one is wrong. We're just helping y'all understand that even when your community tells you things like, hey, I see this, I see that. At the end of the day, you still need to take it to God so you know when and how to apply it. Because people done told me a whole lot of stuff that I should have did with you. That had I not went before God and prayed to him, we probably wouldn't be together. I'm so serious.
Can I say something to them people though? Can I tell them where to go though real quick?
No, because
and tell them what to do with that?
No, because they didn't have a direct relationship with you. So they were going based off of what they saw with their human eyes, as opposed to, ooh, let me pray about this or did God tell me to tell her this?
Okay. You lucky I don't know who they is.
Let's go to the comments. Let's go to the comments. Mama. But I just feel like
you lucky I don't know who they is. That's all I'm gonna say to you right now this evening.
But it's just because they didn't know you. That's like if somebody told you, "Oh, you don't need to be with me." Had you listened to them, your life might have potentially gone a different way because that wasn't in God's plan. So I feel like it's no reason to be mad at them. That's the reason you have a personal relationship with God. Because I could tell somebody, don't go to college because the Lord then revealed to me I'm not supposed to go to college. If I repeat that to somebody else and it's in God's plan for them to go to college, I done sent them clean off.
I just want to know who the people were.
Anyway.
So I can come see
comments.
Since you had something to say it now.
Comments.
You got some
comments.
I got off track, y'all. We have...
Y'all laughing. This is real life.
See, Kelly felt me when I was speaking. She said, I understand what he is saying.
I understood what you were saying, too.
I'm just playing. We have a comment that says, yes, sis, I agree. Not everyone hears from God. They just want to be heard.
That's true. Bitter ones are just jealous. They need to go somewhere. That is so true, bro. And I that's why I was saying I feel like if somebody tells you something, that's why it's important to use your spirit of discernment, and that can only come from God because you know somebody can, if you listen to people just because they're in your inner circle.
I want to really piggyback off that. Like, see, them the people that I don't have to deal with them though, but I hate people that just prejudge. Cause come from where I'm from, come on, I've been dealing with that my whole life, but if you don't get to know me or haven't had a conversation with me, you don't know where I come from, you really can't do that because you look more like the jerk than anybody.
But unfortunately,
I know the world does this.
Does it.
The world does this, but I'm just saying, stop doing that to the peoples though. When you see I know probably was a lot of people we got together what she doing with him? Fam, you weren't even in the mix. You don't even understand how that was already ordained. I prayed for this right here. You understand me? So when you see me with her, that's what I prayed for. Then when I link with her, boom, her mom and my mom grew up together when they was younger. That don't happen like that.
And
you understand what I'm saying? So know what you're talking about before you open your mouth and you judge people or you see them in relationships. Because you don't know what they've been through or how they got together. You just outside looking in. So shut your mouth.
Okay, so it says, if you know whose you are, which is a child of God, then you'll know who you are and your self-worth. When you don't know whose you are in God, you'll fall for anything thinking you don't deserve the best. Period, sis. That is the absolute truth. Because we fall into so much garbage because we don't know whose we are, and we accepting it all because we want to feel loved and accepted and appreciated. That's not what's up. Love y'all.
All right, we going. Love.